SQL, also called SQL, stands for Structured Query Language. It's used for querying data held in relational databases and sometimes for querying non-relational ones too. And it's been around for almost half a century. Why learn SQL? What gives SQL its staying power? Why are we learning it today? Well, it's still popular, and a big reason for its popularity is that most of its commands are declarative, meaning you tell the database what you want and the database decides how to give you what you asked for. The power and the peril of this approach is that it hides the implementation details from the developer. On the downside, there could be occasional side effects you don't anticipate, such as low performance for certain queries. But on the upside, there are ways to find and debug those issues, and once you learn SQL a single time, you can use it with any relational database. MySQL, DB2, and CockroachDB all speak SQL, so even changing your database management system from one SQL database to another doesn't require new skills. SQL written in the 70s can still be used in a distributed SQL database today, just with much greater efficiency and scalability, and there's power in that portability. Old SQL developers don't need to relearn their SQL skills when they switch companies. The language has lasted almost 50 years now for a good reason, and today is a better time to learn the language than ever. Sublanguages. Let's go deeper into what SQL does. The full language can be broken down into sublanguages based loosely on their domain. The most frequently used is the DQL, or data query language, which is used to query the database. Next up is the DML, or data manipulation language, which covers writes to rows. Next up is the DDL, or data definition language, which is used to define the columns and tables. And lastly, there's the DCL, or data control language, which is concerned with authorization and authentication. And all of these make up SQL. It's also worth noting that not every database uses exactly the same syntax. There's a core that's the same, but different implementations vary just a bit here and there. In this SQL track, though, we're going to focus on the commonalities rather than the differences. Let's review. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL is a mostly declarative language, meaning you specify what you want, not how the database gets it to you. SQL is actually several different sublanguages, and different SQL dialects exist, but share a common syntax. And that's what you need to know when you're starting to learn SQL.